How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like going to work on one Thursday morning and thinking to yourself, just one more day until Friday. But then somebody in the elevator says, "Happy Friday!" Then you check your phone quickly and discover today is actually Friday. So yes, happy Friday, random stranger in the elevator. Happy Friday indeed. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Did Starfield underpromise and overdeliver in their first year? Welcome to episode 45 of Starfield with Normal People. My name is Michael, and as always, I am here with Duane.
Yes, indeed you are. Hello, everyone. It has been an awesome week, Michael, because we got a patch for November 2024, and it's pretty exciting.
It actually is. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a huge patch.
No.
But there is a couple of things that they did that I would agree is very exciting.
You gotta love that there is a new vehicle.
Yes.
Anytime I see something like that, that is an immediate, I want to jump in, get this update, and start playing because it's just so cool, especially after the Rev 8 being, I think, critically and user acclaimed, if you will.
Yeah.
It was a hit, in other words.
It was a hit, yeah.
And to see the new vehicle, I actually have not tried it yet, but it looks even like more fun. Did you watch the video or have you actually tried it?
I watched the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
haven't tried it yet. I am feeling the pull of Starfield once again, the gravitational pull, if you will.
Yeah.
Because as our title suggests, we are normal people. We're not obsessively playing one game nonstop. We play other games.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got an amazing Discord full of Starfield fans who also play other games. And even though like I've been playing like Call of Duty and I've been dabbling in a little the Flight Simulator 2024, which just came
nice.
out.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's challenging, man.
It always has been.
But but I gotta say, like, I play a little of this, a little of that, a little of this, a little of that, and then I start to feel that pull towards Starfield. And this new vehicle surprised me. The trailer surprised me because here's what I expected. I expected the first vehicle, the Rev 8, to be an all-rounder.
Mm-hmm.
I expected any other vehicles to be like, well, this one has more armor but less speed.
Yes.
And this one has more firepower but less speed and less armor, etc., etc. I was shocked that this one seems to be faster, stronger, and more deadly.
It does. And it also has a cool skid effect, which I don't know if the Rev 8 has that or not, but I saw it in the trailer and it kind of, at the end, it comes to like a skidding stop and the wheels kind of lock up and it slides a little bit forward.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool.
I'm absolutely gonna jump in.
For sure. It seems higher off the ground physically. So does it have like one of those brodozer step ladders that like pops out the side so you can like clamber up inside of it? Or how does that work exactly?
I kind of hope so.
I mean, if you're in a low G environment, all you got to do is just do a little moon hop up into the Dimog. So
yeah, Dimog. The other big thing about this update, which is very exciting for me, is that verified creations, so these are creations not made by Bethesda necessarily, but they've been verified by Bethesda.
Mm-hmm. It has the blue check mark next to it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh wait, no, does it really? Oh, I was just making fun of Twitter.
It's got some.
Okay.
it's funny because it does. Boy, that the blue check mark used to really mean something.
It really did. Now it's everywhere. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares if you got the blue? Now you pay for it. Anyone can just buy the blue check mark.
It's definitely kind of meaningless at this point. But in the Creation Club, the blue check mark does mean not only that they're verified, but some of them, not all of them, but some will have an achievement-friendly tag.
Saw that, yes.
This is a big deal because Number one, for obvious reasons, if you just started the game and you want to start putting mods in there, you can already start putting these things, expanding on the game, expanding on your favorite parts of the game without disabling achievements.
Right.
Now, I've gotten all the achievements. So what does that mean to me? Well, number one, future DLC comes out, achievements are still unlocked, whatever. It just feels like an extra level of, hey, Bethesda took a look at this. We checked it out. It makes it feel a little more official to me. Like, it makes me more willing to spend money maybe on some of these creations.
Absolutely, it does. It's funny because getting back to the subject of everything's being verified now, I just recently sold something on eBay. It's been a while, a couple of years since I sold something. And this happened to be a brand name piece of clothing. And there's an authenticity verification now.
Oh.
Apparently, I had no idea. I was just like, oh, it just, selected that it was an authentic Adidas jacket or whatever. And
right.
Apparently it gets sent to an actual person who looks at it and authenticates it. And then it,
wow.
I guess, I just skimmed through because I saw as I sold it, I was like, oh, what's this? Like, it has to go through an authentication step.
There must have been so many people making bootleg stuff.
Swap meet Louis, as we used to call it. But yeah, Louis Vuitton. And how long is it before we get food that is has a blue check mark next to it? You're in the grocery store and you want to get like an official Hostess cupcake, and you have to get the one that has the check mark. Honestly, we're not that far away from crazy stuff like that.
Hey man, I'll eat a bootleg Twinkie if it's the same
fresh
recipe.
If it's not stale.
Yeah.
But they don't get stale, right? Like, you can have a Twinkie from 50 years ago and taste the same, essentially.
I think they last a long time. But that does make me think, like, never had a fresh Twinkie, from the oven, still warm. Could be good.
Right. That should be a thing. Like, all these donut specialty shops that pop up that have like, oh, it's pink donuts, or it's I don't even know. There seems to be like half a dozen, for lack of a better term, of new donut restaurants here in the area.
Yeah, why are there so many?
How much better could your donut be than the donut?
Why are there so many different donut shops? That is, oh, you know why?
Why?
So I'm just I'm just gonna say, because I think a lot of people have that dream of, like, they get up early and then they're done. Like, they're done with by like 1 p.m. When they've got the rest of the day. Okay. Starfield, though.
No, wait, I don't understand that. Done by
because like a lot of breakfast type spots, like coffee shops, privately owned, mom and pop shops, a lot of times some of them will close at like 3 p.m. So it's kind of like you get up early, people get their coffee, their donut, and then they're done. I could be completely wrong about this. I swear there's some of them. But modders can put Twinkies into Starfield.
Yes,
it's related.
Back. Right. That entire segment's probably going to get axed. We'll call it the donut segment. No, you're right, though. Like, the ability to have achievements in Starfield is awesome with the creations, because you said in a former podcast that you're like, I don't really want to, I want to get the achievements I want to get first, and then I'm going to go back and go crazy with the creations. So this is a wonderful addition.
But that's the thing is, like, me personally, I said that I was going to do that. And then I kind of don't do it, because I get in there and I look at all the creations and I go, I don't know. Like, it just feels like, if anything feels like it's going to alter the game in a way that, like, kind of makes it not what Bethesda intended. I don't know. I'm weird about that. I'm neurotic about that. Other people, it doesn't bother them, and that's fine. But for people like me, I do feel like this new achievement-friendly tag is going to be that it's going to take down that barrier. It's going to say, oh, cool. Someone at Bethesda looked at this.
Yep. Who is that someone? I want to know. Is it just one person sitting in a pod, like, somewhere, and, like, looking at endless mods and being like, okay, this one's good, this one's not worth it?
First off, I would love to talk to that person. I would
Mhm.
love to have that person on the show. Second off, I would like to be hired to be that person. Bethesda, if you need, like,
Like, who would be
that would
better?
be a
You,
fun,
oh, you would be the best at this job. Absolutely.
even better for me would be deciding on the lore friendly tag.
Oh.
Because that's something, there's a tag for lore friendly.
Mhm.
So if it's like Boba Fett, no. Boba Fett's not lore friendly.
What's that other podcast? The
Yeah,
Lorecast?
it's Lorecast. Lorecast, yeah. Starfield Lorecast.
Lorecast. Eat your heart out, Lorecast. We're talking about lore now.
Yeah, we're talking about lore.
We're covering all of it. We're your one-stop shop now for Starfield podcasts.
That's right. We are. I would love that though. I'd be one of those people that it's like Chunks, it would be a Chunks new flavor and I'd be like, it's not in the lore.
Rhubarb.
Not lore friendly.
Rhubarb is not, you cannot grow rhubarb on Demos.
Yeah.
So
I find out that like, yeah, rhubarb was one of the plants that was lost. Like
the
when everyone had
technology.
to exit Earth.
Oh, bummer. No more rhubarb pie.
They're like, sorry, you're not getting the lore friendly tag. You can get the achievement friendly. That's okay. But yes, this is a great update.
I grew up in rural Idaho, and for some reason, like every old lady back then, that was like the thing that they brought to the potluck dinner.
Yeah.
Was like rhubarb
That was
pie.
really big. Like,
Yeah.
why? I don't know why, but that was really, that was a
and
big thing.
carrot salad. What is carrot salad
Ooh.
exactly? Yeah. I mean,
What?
yeah, carrot salad. It's a thing.
Is it just like shredded carrots and then they throw some dressing on it?
It is. It's like shredded carrots, and then there would be like raisins, I think, in there. And sometimes it'd
man.
be really watery. Sometimes it'd be thick. So yeah,
That's funny.
That's your carrot salad update.
Yep. I want to. Not a fan. Don't want that.
Hey, let me ask you this: the DMOG. I wonder if that's a shout out to the Unimog, which is a off-road four-wheel vehicle here on Earth.
See.
I wonder if it's kind of like a nod to that.
Okay, I think you're onto something because when we saw a leak of these vehicles, which there's a third vehicle that has not come out yet from that leak.
The leak was just a silhouette, just to be clear, right?
It was just a silhouette, yeah. But it was labeled DMOG. And I remember at the time, I thought, oh, it's going to be a Demos vehicle, but I didn't know why it was called that. Now that you're telling me that, it has to be. It has to be in reference to this existing thing. I think they took the word Demos and combined it with, you said Unimog?
Yep, Unimog.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd bet on it.
It's kind of like a Pinsgauer. Have you ever heard of a Pinsgauer?
This is a new term for me. No,
We're getting deep into off-road culture now. But I wonder if the Neon City car will be like a Cybertruck. Kind of.
The closest I've ever gotten to off-road culture is that I drink Monster Energy from time to time.
You don't have a Jeep and do the Jeep wave? Like, who was it that just got a Jeep? Zegra? He just got a Jeep.
Yeah, Zegra got a Jeep.
He didn't even know about the Jeep wave either. It's like all these people are waving at me. Is like, did I have my headlights on, or what am I doing wrong here? But it just turned out.
Yeah, there's a whole. I actually did know that there's Jeep culture where people, yeah.
When I drove a beat up '85 Skylark in high school, it was more a middle finger wave when people saw that thing coming.
Yeah.
What else is on that update?
Well, in the update, the uncapped frame rate option for Xbox Series X came back.
Ooh,
we had it, and then it went away.
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought of you immediately. I'm like, what? Does that make a difference to you, or tell me about it?
So, not to me. So, if you have a television with VRR, variable refresh rate,
right,
this is a good thing for you. I don't have that. So
it's sort of like a smart frame rate. Like if you have the ability to run faster, it will.
Right.
Deep in New Atlantis, it'll slow down on your behalf.
Well, for me, because of the way my TV is designed, it's 60 hertz. I get 60 frames per second, or it drops to 30 frames per second. Whereas if you have VRR in your TV, you can get any
That's
number of
right.
frames. So
So it could be like
sometimes you'll get like
45.
45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's nice is it is 45. It's like if your game is pushing it and can't do 60, something like 45 is still going to look a lot better than 30. That's definitely something on my list. It's not like super important to me. That's why I haven't really gone out and gotten that type of TV yet. But if you have it, it's really nice.
Look for the blue check mark next to the TV. Then
Yeah.
you're good.
Actually, this is sort of a big deal. So I've heard that Creation Kit modders didn't have access to lip sync animation. So what would happen is, you could have characters that speak and everything, but they wouldn't like have the nice lip syncing that a lot of like the main game has.
Right.
So I'm seeing here that the Creation Kit actually has lip sync animation data generation. That's now available. So if you're creating like a story, or you're creating, a lot of people will make companions and they'll actually get some voice actors. Now you can actually have them lip syncing correctly. So
nice.
that adds to the immersion. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Well, there was also a new quest called The Perfect Recipe.
That's right.
Somewhere there was discussion, I think in our Discord, regarding No Man's Sky. It was No Man's Sky versus Starfield, and they were saying the story doesn't compare. This is another check mark in the Starfield column because it's a very character-driven quest line, from what I understand.
Right.
It's nice that we get another like fully fleshed out storyline quest.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play that, and they timed it to come out around Thanksgiving. So for a lot of people, Thanksgiving is all about food. That's pretty much what's most exciting for me, is the food.
Yes.
I'm totally ready to jump back into Starfield, get that demog, and drive it to that mission. Yeah, very excited to do that.
They did a general performance and stability improvements as well, which, that's a short sentence, and it kind of encompasses what I want to talk about today as our main topic, Michael, if you're ready to move on.
I would love to, yeah.
Okay, so it's basically under-promising and over-delivering. In that one sentence, general stability improvements, or general performance and stability improvements, that's like 20 people working since the game was released full time. That's thousands of man hours for that one sentence. And it sort of, like I said, it embodies the spirit of what I feel Bethesda has been doing, which is under-promising and over-delivering. Someone in our Discord, actually, do you want to speak to that conversation? Because I know you had a conversation.
Yes, in our Discord, I was having a good conversation with user Shellshock and a Drifting Dusty, and our friend Brad even jumped in as well. So it all sort of started when Shellshock was voicing sort of a frustration, and not one that I disagree with, but it's basically, it was a frustration with not knowing what's next. And we had a great conversation. Drifting Dusty came in, Brad came in, saying basically that Starfield has already delivered us a game. It's a full game. It's a big game. We're not owed anything. And I sort of came in and just agreeing, kind of like I do sometimes, being very diplomatic.
Yep.
But I agree with everyone. On one hand, they delivered. They gave us everything that they said that they were going to give us. Now, is there more coming? Probably. Is it frustrating not to know? Yes. So in a way, I agree with Shellshock, because it's just a desire.
That frustration is born from a place of anticipation and liking whatever it is that you're waiting for.
Yeah. What's important is that you don't let the frustration become toxicity, right? I think it's okay to just think like, oh man, like I really want to know what's next. I do. I do get that way where I'm like, when is Bethesda going to tell us what's coming next? But like you said, like it's born out of love. It's a love for the game and you want more. You can't let it develop into an anger towards developers. And I don't think Shell Shock is. So this is a positive shout out to Shell Shock and also a very positive shout out to Drifting Dusty and Brad coming in. Honestly, I felt that they were the voice of reason in this because I feel those feelings, and they came in and they just said, you know what, Starfield promised some things and delivered on everything.
Right.
To your point, you talk about over-promising. Now, I just wanted to say real quick, general performance and stability improvements is not an exciting thing to read.
Correct.
Because we want new stuff.
You gloss right over that. It's the first bullet point.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, yeah, that's kind of expected. Fix your fix your stuff, right? But
I agree though. I agree with what you're saying, and I want to point this out because some people might be hearing this and going, dude, that's just general performance stability improvements, like whatever, like it's not exciting. To me, that is awesome because games used to just come out and they were out and that's it. What you got was what you got. The fact that, like what you said, there's a team of people still to this day going in. Can they make it run better? Can they make it, just better in whatever way?
mm-hmm.
I appreciate that because I'm going to keep playing this game for a long time. And if it continues to improve, like how could I be mad at that?
You can't be unless you're giving unreal expectations in your mind to what content you're looking forward to. I think we saw a little bit of that with Shattered Space because it was such a big addition to the game. A lot of content came in. Everyone has their own expectations of what it is, what it can be. But that says
I was guilty of that.
Yeah, they're never going to be able to live up to what's in your head.
I loved Shattered Space.
Mm-hmm.
They never once said Shattered Space will have new ships. And in my brain, I was like, yeah, but they gotta have new ships.
Right.
And they didn't. And I was kind of like, oh man, I thought there'd be new ships. Why did I think that? Because I made it up.
There was a post showing the public release that Bethesda did for Starfield. I think it was like a year ago. Not a year ago, but it was in the early days after the game came out.
Oh, yeah.
And it said, here's what we're planning. And it was very short sentences, very succinct. And I think that reinforces what I said earlier. They kind of underpromised the content to come. If you go back and you look at that screenshot, and maybe we'll link it in the show notes. But what was actually delivered was far beyond that, in my opinion. I know there's always criticisms, but I do feel that they're very good about just keeping expectations, at least when they publicly release information, it's pretty basic. And then when the actual content comes out, it's usually fully fleshed out and, quite expansive.
One of the biggest examples of that, I think, was when they said they were going to introduce new ways to travel.
Mm.
And there were many people that were saying, oh, ground vehicle maybe, but I saw a lot of people saying, it probably just means something with the boost pack. Like, it's just going to be a change with the boost pack.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, when that Rev 8 trailer came out and they were like available now, everyone was blown away. It was like Bethesda finally had some goodwill with even the haters.
Right.
Because, I saw a lot of people going, oh, okay, now I'm paying attention. And
you felt a shift in kind of the collective feeling for Starfield on the internet.
Yeah, I really did.
There was more positive reviews. In fact, I think the actual Steam reviews.
Yeah, they started to improve a lot.
Yeah.
Recently in an interview, Todd Howard said, he was like, I wonder if we should have waited to release the Rev 8 with Shattered Space.
Mm-hmm. I disagree with that completely.
I do too. Yeah, and I have my personal reason, but basically he was saying, I think he was just laughing at the fact that, like, they released this new feature for free to everyone, and everyone was like, cool. And then Shattered Space comes out, which is a huge DLC, a huge story, new location, new enemies. And people were like, we want new features. He's just like, yeah, maybe we should have released the Rev 8 at the same time. And then people would think that.
It's a lose-lose for critics.
Yeah.
You know, that if you would have released it with the DLC, then it would have been kind of lost in all the content.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been as fun or notable, or I believe it actually built anticipation for the DLC. I remember when it came out, I was like, could this mean that you're going to use it more? In your case, you didn't.
Yep.
On Varun, but
I chose not to, and I'll tell you this, I loved the Rev 8, and when it came out, I used it a lot on barren planets, and it was super fun. And for me personally, on the Series X, driving around the Rev 8 was a little bit rough on Varun Kai.
Mm-hmm.
So I just didn't do it, and I didn't really need it. Like it was fun to just hoof it.
If it's like 15 seconds to say a minute to get to your next content point, which it seems like it is on Varun Kai,
yeah,
then I would be boost packing as well.
Yeah.
I do want Bethesda, like we're talking about potentially unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I do want a different melee system.
I do too.
With those enemies kind of excited me, and I talked about it in a preview of the DLC pod that we did. I want there to be like kind of more hand-to-hand combat animations and effects. I always say this, like it'd be so cool to smash. I know it's different on because there's an atmosphere on Varun Kai, but like in the base game, if you're on a planet and they have a helmet, it'd be cool to smash their helmet open, to see them like go down to their knees and start choking because they can't get air. You know, just more effects and more things that happen in melee.
I agree.
Combat.
Melee needs, for me personally, I would love a melee overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've mentioned this since the beginning.
Talked it to death, for sure.
That's the most frustrating thing I think right now with melee is just the same animations over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a way to, I mean, you can sort of change it up a little bit. I would love to dual wield. You can dual wield in Skyrim. So
yeah,
I know that they know how to do it. So that would be really cool.
This November update was a thank you. That's how Bethesda pitched it. A thank you for 15 million players since launching in September of 2023.
Yep.
They hit 6 million players on its day of release. This is from the actual press release, but they said it was the biggest launch in Bethesda Game Studios history.
Yep.
Surpassing the likes of Skyrim, because you just mentioned Skyrim. That's what made me think of this. So player numbers were boosted, of course, by Starfield's day one launch into Game Pass, which they actually say, quote, right there.
It was a massive launch, absolutely. And here's what I think about this update. I think that it's a little smaller. I could be completely wrong. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but coming up in December is the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if we get some sort of teaser or trailer for whatever is coming next. Whatever the next big thing for Starfield is, I would not be surprised if we get a look at it like at the Game Awards. Xbox has a history of doing this. They revealed the Series X. Like no one was expecting it. Like they revealed that trailer at the Game Awards. So it would not be too surprising to get a Starfield revelation there. But again, if it doesn't happen, let's not get mad.
Do you think they'll tease a Series Y that has a GPU upgrade because the PS5 Pro?
No, I think that ship has sailed. I don't think they're working on that because from what I've seen, the rumor is Xbox is already working on the next system because their strategy with the 360 really worked. And this was like forever ago now, but the 360 came out like I think, at least a year before the PS3 or right around there. And that worked really well for them. That generation, the 360 was on fire. PS3 just kind of did okay. I think it did fine, but they definitely kind of won. And then they have not won ever since. The PS5 Pro came out. That's great, but Xbox, the rumor is that they want to launch a new system by 2026.
Okay. Well, I'd love to see Sega get back into the game, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
You know what's crazy, though? Sega just released, like last year, they released this trailer, but just about games. Because remember, a long time ago, they were like, we're not making systems anymore. We're just making games. But last year, weirdly, they were like, we are making new games in all these properties we own. It was like Crazy Taxi and all these things that we hadn't seen in a while.
Outrun.
Duane, I've got just a thought. It's just poking around in my head. I'm like, why are they showing all these trailers for all these different games that they own? What if in like a year, they're like, that's right, MFers, new system.
I mean, you think about the logistics. Clearly, it's hard and it's very expensive to create a console from scratch. However, and I think of the Seinfeld episode, or maybe it was Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's like, doesn't having said that negate everything what you just said? So why even say what you just said? Anyway, I got off track.
Yeah.
Having said that, their library of games is incredible.
Yes.
Think about if they had a Game Pass style system where day one you get your Sega console and then you have this library of past hits. You don't even have to make a remake. You'd have like one flagship one, of course.
Yep.
And then all the old Sonic games and everything else. I mean, I would play the original Sonic if I could right now on a console.
Yeah. That's the conspiracy side of my brain working, though. It's when they released a trailer for all these different games and like at once, I was like, they are up to something. Like, think about it this way. Why would they launch 7 of their properties all at the same time? And I'm not saying that that's what they said they would do, but why are they getting everyone jazzed up about like 7 to 10 of their games? It would only make sense to me if they surprise dropped a new system and said, all these games available right now at launch on our new Sega console. And to your point, I didn't even think about that maybe, it's just a membership and like Game Pass, all Sega Pass.
All these games and all these consoles, somebody's gonna get happy. Sorry.
There's going to be someone that knows that reference. It's not me today.
I think personally Bethesda has over-delivered and under-promised, so I admire them for that. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me.
People will disagree.
But That's okay. That's okay. They're allowed to.
Yeah.
The reasons why I think that is, number one, I have a Starfield podcast. I have to. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I genuinely love the game, and my expectations were different from that initial gameplay because I'm coming out of Fallout and Fallout 3 and 4 and New Vegas.
Right.
By the way, we just had New Vegas Day here in Las Vegas, where people come out and they go to Good Springs. And so
Good Springs.
Shout out to anyone that did that and came to our wonderful city. Hope you had fun. I think my expectations were completely different. The game for me delivered, and everything that I saw, I'd say, aside from the big initial trailer, delivered. And it over-delivered.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I say besides that trailer is because of my own expectations. My expectations were more Fallout-ish coming into this. Or maybe a lot of people were more Skyrim.
Yeah. I had expectations that were born out of hopes and wants, and it is what it is, you know, and I agree. They delivered.
Yeah. If you don't think they delivered, tell us why in the comments, but keep it civil. And please have a valid point. You can't just say something like, well,
They suck.
you can't say something without merit or just a general insult. It has to have
Yeah.
sort of like reasoning behind it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't take the melee in this game. That's the reason why I hate it, or something to that effect.
Yeah, totally.
But let us know in the comments. Speaking of comments, do you want to talk about a few, or do you have anything more to say about the promises that Bethesda?
No, I think that about covers it. I would love to
Let's take a look.
read some comments.
Yeah. There were quite a few excellent comments. Thank you so much to everyone that did comment. And that was our episode, the post DLC blues, Michael.
Yeah.
Here's a great comment from the iTech Lab, who says, speaking on the post DLC blues, I've gone back to Skyrim after 3 years and am enjoying it. But after a month away from Starfield, I'm ready to hop back in. Michael, this is exactly what you said at the top of the show.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm ready to hop back in and finish my current playthrough post Shattered Space. I think Starfield has become my new comfort game. That's, again, wait, did you write this? Because this sounds exactly like you.
It sounds so much like me. Yeah.
That I always return back to. I've put 300 hours into the game since launch, which is a lot for me. I think I only have 400 hours into Skyrim total across all platforms after picking it up in 2013. Wow, 2013, yeah. And I'm on pace to pass that 400 hours in Starfield in the next 6 months or so. So yeah, they've put the same amount of time into Starfield as a game that they've owned for 11 years. So that speaks well to Starfield.
That is what is insane about Starfield. And this is similar, man. It's so similar. You're right. It sounds like I wrote that comment. I have put so much time into Starfield, and it has nothing to do with the podcast, because you and I we were honest at the top of the episode, very honest. Like I said it, I haven't been playing Starfield the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing other games. We're honest about that. And I will tell you right now, I have put so much time into this game just because I like living in that world.
Right.
Starfield keeps me sometimes from playing other games. Like, I'll jump in, I'll start them, and then I'm like, oh, let me get back into Starfield. Mm-hmm. And I'm about to go back again. That was definitely Skyrim for me, but not as much.
Yeah, definitely.
Not as much. Fallout has the gameplay, and it's got the guns, and it's this and that. It's like got so much good stuff. It's got the atmosphere, the radio. I love that. Mm-hmm. It's also a depressing world.
Right.
What Starfield has done, it doesn't have everything that Fallout has. You don't want it to, because you will still want a reason to go back and play Fallout. But it has enough. And then it's also just this like wonderful place to be in, depending on where you go.
It really is. If you're an optimistic person who is thinking that the human race is going to make it, this game is for you, because this is us potentially in 500 years, 300 years, 1,000 years. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe.
Who knows?
At least in one timeline, right?
Yeah. I want to read one other comment here from the Chenny73. Now, they say, I personally love the game. My only critique is, why build all those worlds if you're not going to add to them? It's been over a year. How hard is it to add POIs to this galaxy? Why are they not just dropping content in the galaxy for us to find? Now, I like this comment. Again, we've talked about how sometimes these frustrations are born out of a love for the game, right? But I want to respond to this because, number one, I love people say, this game should have been like 5 worlds. It should have been one solar system and really, really developed. And that's not what the Cheney is saying, but it reminds me of that comment. And here is what I will say. They gave us 1,000 planets and moons because
1,000.
It makes it feel 1,000. It makes it feel so vast. And you have to understand, like, the quote unquote empty moons, especially out at the edge of the galaxy, there's planets that just, as far as I know, don't even have any POIs. Or if they do, they're extremely rare.
It'd be such a buzzkill if you landed on a little moon. It was just filled with stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I want a barren moon every once in a while. but go on.
There is enough content elsewhere. Having all those, it's just, you get a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You get a feeling of vastness, of space to have these empty places. Also, my second point that I want to talk to, the Cheney says, why not give us stuff that we can just, they're saying drop content in there for us to find. I'll tell you why. Because 95% of players are not going to play for hundreds of hours and find that rare thing.
Right. They have to make it for the masses. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've got it. Like, Starfield is a game made for the masses for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
It is and it isn't. Like, you just have to find that balance. It's always funny to me, like, when you beat the game and you get a diamond achievement, which means like less than 10% people got that achievement.
Yeah.
And so then you're like, and I'm not saying that that's what it is for finishing the game, but that does happen, right? You're like, oh wow, most people didn't even get to the ending. It's just crazy. Yeah. Unfortunately, they're not going to just stealth drop stuff into the world only for the 1% of players that play for thousands of hours.
That's why the DMOG is immediately available.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through some World of Warcraft epic quest line that takes 300 hours to get this unlockable vehicle. It's just there because the achievement would be like 5% of people have unlocked the DMOG if that were the case, right?
And that was an issue I had with the Trackers Alliance update was right away you open the scanner and you can see bounties and you can just take them down or turn them in. Mm-hmm. And right away I was like, oh, why? What? They just gave it to us? Why didn't they have to earn it?
Let it explore and find a bounty, right?
Yeah. And I thought, well, it's so that a player that doesn't know about all these updates opens their scanner and says, oh, wow, why is that person red? Mm-hmm. Oh, they're a bounty? Oh, cool. You know what I mean? It's like, not everyone is going to be an expert in the game.
I think it's excellent how they make it approachable. The game in general, the game is approachable. You can turn it on and start playing some semblance of a video game right away, even if you have no experience with Bethesda games in the past or video games in general. You could probably figure it out and start doing something pretty much right away.
Yep.
It then allows that player who has, let's say, 1,000 hours in the game to also keep playing it, because it does reward players that like to explore. There are some little hidden things, or there is extra content out there although it's not the main content, it's not the Rev 8, it's not that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to read one more. I want to shout out Ad3 Supa, who said, yes, Todd did say it was like Skyrim in space. It was in a Washington Post news article on June 13th, 2021. Ashley Chang then immediately said, it's like a Han Solo simulator to her.
Right.
Now, what Ad3 Supa said, quote, how I see it, keep in mind the audience of people who read it or pay attention to the Washington Post. Now keep in mind how many people who read from them would know any Bethesda game or other than maybe Skyrim in the first place. Yes, excellent point.
Very good point.
That article was intended to be a media event, and Todd is kind of making it palatable to general audiences. Yeah. And hopefully selling more video games, right?
Absolutely a great point. Yeah.
To us seasoned game players, well, it's nothing like Skyrim in space, but we're not the target audience for that.
Yeah, we can pick it apart. Yeah, we have enough knowledge of these games. Some people might say, well, actually, the land generation is more like how they did, Daggerfall. The general public is not going to know these things. The general public, they know Mortal Kombat, Halo,
Mario,
Skyrim. And so, yeah, Mario. So out of those 4 games, it's closest to Skyrim. So it's like, that's what they're going to understand. But I was very grateful for this comment, because I honestly thought that was something that Todd Howard did not say, that it was just what we were saying as a group. But no, he did. So thank you.
Yeah, Todd also said that he has a working version of Starfield for PlayStation. and he lets his kids play it at home on his PS5 Pro.
That's what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a secret PS5 Pro version of the game that runs at 8K.
So many Ks.
So many Ks. You thought you only needed 4. I saw, it was funny, the developer, one of the developers working on No Man's Sky, they did an 8K update for the PS5 Pro, like no joke.
Wow.
And he said, and this made me mad, not really, but he said,
Did you write a letter?
I'm going to. He said, working on this update made me realize, he said something like, I used to say that you can't really tell the difference between 4K and 8K, and that this made him realize, like, you really can. And I was just like, all right, well, I'll take your word for it now, and then in 25 years, when I can afford an 8K television, I'll let you know if I agree.
Right. The other thing is, like, with the graphics card technology, they're scaling on our behalf. So the game may only output in 4K. It soon will be able to be scaled to whatever Ks you have, like without slowing down the frame rate.
Yeah.
It's just through better programming. Maybe AI is going to help us out. Who knows? So.
Well, that's the amazing thing about like DLSS and like these techs that scale up the resolution. Like it's incredible.
Well, here's a comment I wanted to read. It's from Old Man Arba 5112, who says, Shattered was such a disappointment. I don't play anymore until BGS fixes the underlying problems with Starfield. That's the kind of comment that I want you to expand on, people. If you leave us a comment like that, you need to say why. What are the underlying problems?
What are the underlying problems? Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I don't know what they are from you. I mean, I could guess, but if you think it's something specific and you want to make a comment, tell us what that problem is.
I'll tell you what, man. Yes, explain, because we're not crazy. If there is a problem, we love the game, but there are problems. So if you can actually say, well, this is an issue or this an issue, like there are times where I go, oh, you know what? They're not wrong. Yeah. Come to think of it, because there are things that I forgive and forget. Like if I'm playing a game that I enjoy, there's things I don't like, and I forgive and forget. Yeah. And if you remind me, then I'll say, oh yeah, you know what? That is a good point. I would like them to fix that. I would like to drive the Rev 8 around Varun Kai. There you go. There's an issue.
You know who likes to drive the Rev 8 around Varun Kai, Michael?
Who?
Our legendary Patreon members.
Yes.
Who are they, by the way?
Especially with the update, and maybe it's a lot smoother now.
And maybe it's going to be the demog.
Yeah. Hey, they must feel better about the update if they're putting in a faster vehicle. I'll tell you that much, and I'll tell you by the next episode if it worked or not. Our legendary Patreon members are the Great Serpent, Bergenstock, Space Cadet 829, Kittalahara, Rampage American X, Cherry Bomb RN, Griffin, and Zegra Rocks. These are all amazing people, not just because they're on Patreon, but also these are the people that you and I talk to all the time in the Discord, which, by the way, the Discord, that's free. Just come in and talk to us. But we appreciate our Patreon members so much because it keeps this beautiful machine going.
Absolutely. And shout out to everyone else who supports us on Patreon, our rare members.
And our normals.
Yes, thank you. I want to give a quick shout out to Anarchy Nova, Oliver, and Cherry Bomb also, who are our 3 moderators on the Discord. Thank you, guys.
Yes, big thank you.
Thanks to everyone that listens on Spotify, Apple, and thank you to those watching on YouTube. All links are provided in the show notes below. Michael, did you know that we have another podcast called the Normal People Gaming Podcast?
Yes, I did know that. And it's a fun podcast.
Right. If you just can't get enough of the comedic stylings of Michael and Duane, then, and you want to hear more about just video gaming in general, then you should go check out our other podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like we said before, we love Starfield and we love other games as well. So check out the Normal People Gaming podcast and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Also, an extra special thanks for comments and feedback. If you have a comment, suggestion, or an in-game story to share, you can leave it on our YouTube page or come into our Discord and talk to us directly.
Yeah, and Hoodoo Vane actually won our last drive competition. We have a shipbuilding competition in there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hoodoo. I just sent him a mug this morning, and I think we're starting a new contest soon. So if you like building ships, get on in there.
Yeah.
Also, if you like our show, consider dropping a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. That would really help us out.
Thanks for traveling the Starfield with us. Make sure you subscribe because we will be back for more.
We will see you then.